Jai Hind and welcome to Dev Talks, US Pakistan relations, something that is going to come in the fourth of the limelight very, very soon. It's already here, some may say. Pakistan has been stabbing US in the back for more than 2 decades with its actions and activities in the Indian subcontinent. USA still considers it as a major non-ally NATO country. It is a very, very important situation when you see Pakistan actually doing what it is in Afghanistan against the United States and the United States having to do business with it. To discuss this entire mess, I have with me Lieutenant General Ravi Shankar, PVSM, AVSM, VSM, a retired Director General of the Artillery from the Indian Army, a strategic thinker, writer, and a speaker. Thank you, sir, for joining me for this very, very interesting discussions for most Indian listeners.
Thanks a lot, Adi, for calling me over. Discussing Pakistan is always a pleasure. Right?
Yeah. And that brings a smile to my face and everybody else.
I think so.
So one of the biggest questions that everybody asks is, why did the US tolerate Pakistan for so long? There are some theories which are floating around with regards to a lot of strategic analysts have actually put them across, which say that one, it is a geostrategic location of Pakistan, which gives US access to this entire region. The second one talks about the fact that the Pakistanis have a very old relationship with the USA. They got into bed with the states somewhere in the 50s. So that's the history of it. The third one, everybody says, is the suicidal tendencies, putting the gun to one's head during negotiations. Which one do you buy, or do you have another theory, sir?
Let's put it this way. The US-Pak relationship goes back a long time. All the reasons which are given are true to a large extent. I mean, none of them is false. Now, you have to, the first thing is that the state was created as a wedge between the Russian and or the communist expansion southwards. They didn't, the Britishers didn't want the communism to spread into India, because as it is, they felt Gandhi and Nehru were socialists of a, communist variety. So they interjected this Pakistan, and plus they wanted to control energy, oil, to have a Muslim state which was built on a Western model, controlled by the West, was their idea of controlling the Middle East also. At that time, Middle East was quite underdeveloped. So that's how Pakistan came into being. As the British collapsed, the Americans took over. Then they took it as part of CENTO and the Baghdad Pact, the ally status between USA and Pakistan started then. Then as it kept going on, India was not towing America's line. We were into non-alignment, etc., etc. And Pakistan was totally into alignment with Russia. So that they continued. Come 71, USA sided Pakistan against India, and they lost out. Then, of course, USA has a habit of supporting all dictatorships. So all the dictators of Pakistan were, feted and meted and all that. Then where this trajectory took off in a different direction altogether was probably around the time the Shah of Iran was toppled, Ayatollah Khomeini came in. USA and Iran had a great equation then. When that went, they said, look, we must keep Pakistan on our side at all costs. The second time when it came was then Pakistan became the frontline state to destroy Russia through Afghanistan, and they created the Mujahideen and ensured that Russia was driven out of Afghanistan through Pakistan. So a lot of money, etc., etc. That relationship grew stronger. In the third phase of the relationship, or the fourth phase, whichever depends on how you phase everything out, was the current phase. When, initially they supported the Taliban, and, the US guys were prepared to deal with the Taliban also through Pakistan. in the initially when Taliban was created and it was put into power. And then, of course, after 9/11, the whole thing changed. So Pakistan was the conduit, or rather the land route through which they could maintain their troops in Afghanistan. So they became dependent. So all along, another major important issue, a major and an important issue is that in all this, they knew, the US guys knew that Pakistan was going nuclear, and they looked the other way. They knew there was nuclear proliferation and missile proliferation from North Korea and China. They looked the other way because they wanted Pakistan. And then Pakistan also played the midwife to patch up USA with China in 70s. When Kissinger went through Pakistan to meet Mao and then laid the groundwork for the Nixon-Mao meet. So Pakistan and China have a deep relationship. It's nuclear, it is trade, I wouldn't say trade facilitation. Then this business of terror and war against terror and propagating terror and everything. So they were hand in glove for many things. And so at each point of time, whenever this relationship went into a problem, either it was solved by some terror incident or a nuclear gun or something thing, and then they went on as business as usual. It suited both parties. USA also knew that Pakistan was duping them. So did Pakistan knew that USA will sort them out the moment they get a chance. And that's why they hedged and they used China. But in all this, remember one thing. The fundamental reason for Pakistan to align to China or to USA is to sort out India, revenge against India. That's the fundamental thing. For that, they'll do anything.
Somebody said to me, sir, that they will screw themselves to screw India. So
yeah,
it really doesn't matter to them.
I agree with that. I agree with it completely.
That's a very interesting way of life. I must comment on that, sir. So before I go on to the congressional hearings which are happening in USA, you mentioned something very interesting in the middle of your answer. That you said that the USA was ready to deal with the Taliban through Pakistan in the phase 1 time. It seems like the Pakistanis even demand that, if I may use a very strong word, even today, and that's quite a thought to actually fathom from a, as it's called openly nowadays in the congressional hearing, as a third-rate country like Pakistan as well. What are the cards that the Pakistanis hold against the US? Because there has to be some leverage that the Pakistanis are still pulling against the USA. And what are the concerns that the Pakistanis have?
The first thing which USA, feels about Pakistan is it's a nuclear state. They know it's a rogue state to a large extent, right? And so they don't want nuclear terror, the one lone wolf guy with a nuclear backpack to reach USA. That's the first thing they have. They don't want any conflict between India and Pakistan to reach the nuclear holocaust stage, where it goes nuclear, right? That's two. Number three is they don't want Afghanistan to become a heaven for terrorists, where another Osama bin Laden comes and blows up another Twin Towers. Right? So, and the fourth thing is now, which is recent, they don't want Pakistan to be completely aligned with China, as a result of which their own geostrategic equations are spoiled completely. Because China can, rather Pakistan can assist China to become a two-ocean power. The moment China has a two-ocean power, it is knocking on the doors of being a superpower. So these four reasons are very important, right, for USA to continue to support Pakistan. Okay, now let's look at the flip. Why does Pakistan need USA? Money. They say, na, Pakistan at one point of time lived on 3 A's, Allah, America, and Army. So that is constant. Second, no Pakistani wants to send their children to China. They all want to be sent to America. They want businesses in America, and they want their, uh, everything in the West, London, America, and all that. So they'll always look to the West. Okay, and then Pakistan wants to be relevant. It considers itself as a frontline state, geostrategically important for everyone, so it has to be there. And unless that geostrategic relevance is maintained, the army goes out of power. As far as the country is at war and is it either under conflict, adverse circumstance, or under threat of or an existential threat, army doesn't have relevance. So they make something happen, make themselves relevant, right? In the international politics, geostrategic importance. These are the reasons why Pakistan makes itself indispensable to America, and they need it. America in West also.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's interesting when you say that, because that means that the Pakistanis are really thinking about this entire thing. Ki, yaar, abhi kuch apna weight down ho raha hai, kuch karo.
Yeah, see, even now they want that NSA said, we have to help Afghanistan, and it should all be through Pakistan. They want routing through Pakistan so they can dip their hand in the till. That's the thing. And now one more thing with this Pakistani fellow, that NSA, there's a rat of a guy. He says that it's very important that we help Taliban and Afghanistan. Otherwise, the consequences will be difficult. So he is actually blackmailing USA.
Openly.
And openly. And he says, hereafter the relationship Pakistan seeks with America is not security, arms, and all that. They want geoeconomics. In my conception, what is geoeconomics between America and Pakistan? Pakistan's begging bowl with someone dropping money into it.
One way.
That's geoeconomics.
It's a perfect broker, those house brokers that you have. So you use a very nice, flattering word called facilitation, right?
It's a facilitator. It's always been so. You tell me one place where Pakistan has done anything original, like facilitation. If I am uncharitable, it is midwifing.
I mean, there is.
गांव में दाई, वो type है.
Well, sir, the recent congressional hearings that I was talking about, Antony Blinken was posed a question by a lot of the senators. As a matter of fact, some people were used very, very strong language, and he was forced to repeat himself by saying that we would have to reassess what Pakistan has done with us in the past 20 years and look at its future and what we expect it to do. These were the precise words.
Yeah.
What do you think he means by this, and what is the US planning to do?
See, what they want the US to, Pakistan to do is very fundamental. They don't want Afghanistan, another Osama bin Laden from Afghanistan and Taliban, right? That is one. Then the nuclear angle, which I've said, and the Sino-Pak relationship should be capped, right? And they don't want the India-Pakistan thing to go into the nuclear thing. So how do you do it? How do you? And of course, now they've always known that Pakistan is a duplicitous state. Duplicity is the name of the game. So what they'll do, now they will say, okay, aid will give to Taliban directly through UN or something else. They don't have to go through Pakistan. They don't need Pakistan, the transit routes and all are not required. They don't need intelligence. They don't need bases, nothing. So if they don't need nothing, they're not going to pay anything. But yet they have to keep this equation alive for the issues which I've said. Right. What can they do against Pakistan? They can, put sanctions. They can, restrict entry into USA, which they had already done, but they could even more put the screws. Pakistan's passport can be the worst bloody passport to hold in your life if you have one. That kind of a thing they can make. That you can only enter, third world African countries, not the West. They can do that. diplomatic embargoes, then they can ensure that their F-16s and all that, and all the American arms which are there, those go
Spares.
down, spares and maintenance. Okay, then they can actually do a lot of mischief within Pakistan, Americans.
Leaving alone the IMF and FATF and all these things.
No, that is a different story. They can turn the screws on FATF and IMF to ensure that Pakistan behaves. But they can actually create mayhem in Pakistan because they know how to deal with Pakistan internally. They know all secrets of Pakistan. So there are a lot of things they can do. But will they do it? How will they ensure that Pakistan falls in line? Is a question mark. Now look at the flip. What can Pakistan do? Pakistan will always pose the threat like that NSA has already posed to say, look, if you don't help us, we are going down. If you go down, there will be some chap with a nuclear device who will walk into one of America's cities or wherever and let it go. They'll threaten. That nuclear button will be there. Self-destruction, they'll deal with a gun on their head. What you said, a suicidal tendency will always be there. Then they'll say, to hell with you, we are going with China. These are the things they'll do. These are the leverages Pakistan has, these are the leverages USA has. If we think that USA will go the whole hog with Pakistan, no. Let's not. We shouldn't think that tomorrow Pakistan will be allowed to, or rather ignored completely. I doubt. Okay. Pakistan will be given some money, something. You have to keep the rat in play to catch it later. Right?
True.
And they can still use Pakistan as a go-between for tomorrow if there's a rapprochement required between China and USA. Geostrategy, no options are closed. Okay. So that's how it is. They'll still need Pakistan to a large extent for the Gulf. After all, it's a Muslim state. So there are issues. We have to be pragmatic about it, that there are mutual requirements of Pakistan and USA with each other. So that there will be a relationship. It will get cold. That's okay. Tomorrow it might get hot also. Let's be prepared for it.
Because a lot of the analysts within Pakistan are saying that one of the biggest questions that has come towards Pakistan again is the do more business. There was a lot of, during the Musharraf era, do more was something which was very, very relevant. So
in any case, what is do more now? Then what can Pakistan do? The only thing Pakistan can do is, to train a few chaps to go and bring down another set of Twin Towers in USA. That's it.
It's a very strong statement, I must say, sir.
What else can they do?
Yeah.
They can't control Taliban beyond a point. They're not foolish enough to let a nuclear device go within their own country. They will not let anyone touch that nuclear device. The Pakistani generals understand that, because their sustenance is that nuclear weapon. Their sustenance internally and their revenue externally is based on that nuclear button. So they'll keep it under very, very stringent conditions, close. Their survival of the deep state is based on the nuclear button.
That becomes irrelevant. Yeah, there's a lot of problems.
Yeah, they're not going to let it go. This theory, that some terrorists will get hold of a missile tomorrow and this is all bunk.
That's interesting. So when you said pragmatically speaking, we should analyze what can the US or what would the US do in the next some time. I'd like you to future gaze a little bit and tell us, one, the Afghanistan situation is pretty delicate at the moment as well. I mean, there are one actually wonders whether the reports of infighting are true or not, because there's so much propaganda in the air right now. Well, one tends to believe the factor that there is infighting there. So that is fluid. fluidity
See,
means there's going to be action. How
there
does
are
the US plan to deal with all this?
See, there are 2-3 scenarios. Taliban can continue the way it is, and the instability can continue. One, if that happens and it becomes a haven for terrorists, then USA will have to do over-the-horizon capability test exercise and take some missile strikes or drone strikes or whatever. Even if it doesn't use Pakistan, it still needs overflight. It might force its way through, but it still needs Pakistan's cooperation for it, right? So that is one. The second thing is Taliban can disintegrate tomorrow. Then what happens? So if it disintegrates into a civil war, an alternate form of government has to come in. Again, they'll need Pakistan. Where will they go? And I've told you, if they need a rapprochement with China, Pakistan still is a conduit. You can't ignore these fundamentals. So, relevance of Pakistan to USA, even in the future, will continue. Irrespective of whether it is Taliban or no Taliban, China or no China. Just think, what if tomorrow Xinjiang and Tibet go unstable? I mean, again, you'll need Pakistan for it. Of course, you'll need India, but you'll need Pakistan also. It's not one shouldn't think unidimensionally. Expect pragmatic relations between Pakistan and USA. It might go cold, that I have no doubt. I don't think they'll give any there are no free lunches. The free lunch time is over for Pakistan. Yes. थोड़ा भीख मांगना पड़ेगा.
Some sacrifices will have to be made.
Yeah. They'll have to. They'll go through a lot of pain. Already Imran Khan has said, हमारे पास तो पैसा ही नहीं है खाने के लिए. Okay. And once they are under the IMF program, there are very stringent regulations. And once if they have to get off FATF, there are stringent regulations.
Correct.
So there are issues. It's not so simple.
Yeah, they mentioned the dollar has to be 172 Pakistanis. There have to be taxes and this and that, and a whole lot of.
No, it's touching 180. They are worried. Pakistanis are worried that if it crosses 180, they are in no man's land. Already it has touched 180, but I think in the past 2 days it stabilized around 178. So they are in problems as it is. There's a major problem.
But Pakistan has been known to play, the double game for a long time, and they've been able to actually quite successfully wait their time through. I don't think the army or the deep state is even bothered if people are going hungry on the streets, but they want their power to be there. For that, as you just said, they will have to make some extreme sacrifices. I'd like to know, Pakistan would like to be relevant as much as it can, but do you think it still has that capacity that it had in the 1970s or the 80s to drag the USA along still, in spite of the factor that you mentioned that they would need a conduit here, need this thing, that thing, but the leverage that the Pakistanis would be able to hold?
The leverage might not be that much. You see, if you go back into time, the equation between USA and Pakistan has gone through ups and downs.
Yeah.
There was a time when, Pakistan was given $400 million aid by President Carter during Ziaul Huq's time. And Ziaul Huq said, this is peanuts. And Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer. That was the aim. Right? And that was for training Mujahideen and all that. That was then. If you want me to be on your side, pay more. Before that, obviously, the relationship had gone cold after the 71 war. Then again, after the Mujahideen overthrew Russia and they were kicked out of Afghanistan, USA walked away from this region. They didn't bother about this place till 9/11 happened. Again, at that time, Pakistan didn't get much. Pakistan was in dire straits around that in the 90s. Till Kargil happened and 9/11 happened. So, I visualize, though America will not walk away from this place, America is quite aware today, and there's a public backlash against Pakistan.
I think that's the most important.
And even the army knows, everyone knows. They say, no, we don't. So they're going to be a little more pragmatic in dealing with Pakistan. But let's not hope that they'll avoid Pakistan and destroy Pakistan.
No, fair enough. One has to be open-minded in these kind of scenarios, which is something that one is able to understand.
There'll be a drip
Yeah.
feed into Pakistan, maybe a little more than a drip feed. It will not be a torrent of water, but there'll be a drip. The drip irrigation of Pakistan will start from America.
Basically, ICU status, but life support system will.
But then you look at it from Pakistan's point of view. They're not bothered about USA. They have now got money from China. Everyone says China is giving loans. On paper, it is loans. Do you think Pakistan will ever repay back even one naya paisa? They have never repaid anything to anyone. So why will they repay? And now with the ETM threat and Taliban to be controlled, China will give all the more money to Pakistan to recover. So they've got another bank open for them. Look, Pakistanis are very smart. Huh? You've got to grant it to them. They know how to milk a cow.
Yeah, well,
despite the fact that Imran Khan didn't keep buffaloes in his house, he knows how to milk them.
I don't think it's Imran Khan, sir, but
whoever, whether it's Imran Khan is milking his own buffalo. So
yeah,
okay.
Fair enough. So this is a bit of a volatile scenario, and of course, USA wants India. I mean, Blinken had also said that we will be cooperating with India for over-the-horizon operations and so on and so forth. So the Indian involvement in this entire subcontinent, especially to handle Afghanistan, is coming out day by day. It's becoming more stronger. Russia is talking to us, Iran is talking to us, UK is talking to us. So there's a lot in the pipeline that is not there in the public domain as of now. I'm sure we'll be able to analyze it in the coming days. How do you think India should place its bets between these two? Probably not quarreling, but trying to settle scores with each other. Because India has
let them do what they want. See, we have our equation with USA is strategic. It's a strategic partnership which encompasses a wider thing. It's not military alone. There's diplomacy, there's economy, there's everything. There's a trade deal, so many things, right? And our focus is not just Afghanistan and Pakistan. We're also looking at the Indian Ocean. We are also looking at the South China Sea, the Indo-Pacific, the Quad. There are bigger issues, vaccination in the current situation. So there is a lot of this thing. So Pakistan is just a subset of the Indo-US equation, first. Second, then the debate whether you want to allow Pakistan, USA to use our bases, etc., etc. We already have agreements, LEMOA and all that, a logistics arrangement with the USA. Within the confines of that arrangement, BECA and all that, within that, we will do what we have to do. There's an agreement, isn't it? In the confines of that agreement, the USA will get everything. Nothing more has been agreed. It will not happen. Whatever has been agreed will go through. That much USA we have to give because it's a signed agreement between two sovereign governments, two democratic governments, which took place after a lot of deliberation. But if you think that American drones are going to get operated out of Avantipur or Leh or something, that's far-fetched. It might not happen. Neither is it prudent for us nor for them. Okay. So, for many reasons, without getting into it. So, whatever is within the Indo-US framework will be met by India and USA. They also know where to go and when not to go. Right? And as far as US-Pak relations are concerned, we monitor them. We tell the US guys, look, this is where you are erring. We always told them, incidentally, that this is what you're doing. They're not right. And you're going to bite. They've always told us, yeah, we know it. What do we do? When my troops are there, I have to rely on Pakistan. In fact, if you hear Christine Fair talking, she said, why is Pakistan being, given assistance and all that? Because our troops are there. If our troops are there, you have to maintain them. Now that the troops are not there, they'll need not get that kind of help. So, but irrespective of everything, whatever the future course of relations between USA and Pakistan are, we'll monitor them and put USA wise. That's the next part. The next thing which we have to understand is that you see today only Australia, UK, and US have signed the deal for a nuclear submarine to be given to Australia and defense cooperation. That
Defense
means you have a
package.
Quad and you have a trilateral security arrangement which has just come up. And much to everyone's, in fact, I wouldn't say much to everyone's surprise. One knew it that the moment USA pulls out of this area, they'll focus on China. They've started it.
Yes, sir.
So in that end, India is the bigger requirement for them. All the analysis is what you're going to have 3 or 4 navies which are going to have nuclear subs. India, USA, Australia. Then of course Britain and France. All these will come in. So there's a bigger game which is going to open.
Quad plus.
Quad plus. I wouldn't say Quad plus, Quad and more.
Interestingly, this time they've actually said that the focus is going to be the Taiwan Strait. So
very clear.
Yeah.
See, that's because Australia and China, the relationship bad. That is why we had a 2+2 dialogue.
yes,
2 years back or 1 year back, Australia used to crib about India always. But why suddenly you have a 2+2 dialogue and everything is okay? And their PM says India has everything which China has. India has everything which China has, plus it's a democracy. All of a sudden, this fact was there from the 70s. But they choose to go with China all these years. Now China is they are uncomfortable. They're coming to India. Well, good, welcome. Let's look at it. What is there in it for us? Our interests are ours.
correct.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, and we should achieve them.
One thing I learned from this conversation that, sir, the US-Pakistan relations will not be center stage as what they were before. With regards to the drip irrigation that you were talking about, learning what I hear from you and, a little bit here and there, is the factor that the drip won't be that big this time, because previously it was pretty big because they had to fight a war and so on and so forth. This time is going to be much more.
जितना उस पेड़ को चाहिए उतना ही पानी मिलेगा उसको.
जीने के लिए मिलेगा.
नहीं पड़ेगा. जीने के लिए बस.
Last time they had money to shine their medals and stuff like that. I don't think.
You know that famous line of late Ajit. Liquid oxygen में डुबो दो. Liquid जीने नहीं देगा, oxygen मरने नहीं देगा.
I mean, Pakistanis got money to,
whatever, let them. All the best to them. And let me tell you something. They're quite smart. Huh? They know how to handle the USA. They know how to handle themselves. Let's not. We shouldn't imagine that Pakistan is going to disintegrate tomorrow.
Yeah, that is. The world won't let it happen. I mean,
whether the world won't let it happen or not is a different story. But they'll not disintegrate. The army will not let it disintegrate. The army will ravage Pakistan. They'll screw Pakistan. They'll bloody eat Pakistan off. They'll everything. But till the time the Pakistan army is around, they will not let Pakistan collapse.
Bottom line.
Pakistan army is a two-faced Janus. It is the reason for survival of Pakistan. It is the reason for destruction of Pakistan.
Destruction. Yeah. It's in a bad state, but I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, it will not. Yeah.
That's a very interesting thing. I mean, no matter how much blows, it's like a boxer that refuses to get knocked out, and that's something which is amazing about that country. And they still stand up with their heads up, held high for whatever.
See, the other thing is whether it is one country or 4 countries as our neighbors, both will be troublesome. So let's live with whatever we have.
Absolutely, that I agree with, sir. No questions asked.
Yeah.
So this has been an interesting discussion. We've actually seen through why the US kind of tolerates Pakistan. There are questions being asked. I'm sure the answers of which will not come in the public domain all the time, because there are certain things that are kept under the, behind the curtains. And now we're beginning to understand why that is so, and, why do we see the situation here. Of course, it's quite an emotional subject for all of us as Indians, because we've seen what US money has done to the Pakistani army and what they did to the, in their actions along the line of control and the terrorist camps and stuff like that. So one can relate to the anger within India, but we must learn the reality. And as in the last part of the talk right now, we must observe and react to whatever is required to be done. And
if I'd like to interrupt you,
sir.
There's a headline which I'm just reading. It reads, Pakistan was like a hired gun for the US. And there's a statement by Imran Khan on the Afghanistan crisis. And he calls Anthony Blinken's remarks on Pakistan as ignorant. So you know where they are.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's here.
Fantastic. And here's the Prime Minister who declared independence the minute the US.
It's here in this. I just saw it. It popped up and I read it.
Send it to me. I'll put it in the video.
I'll do that.
Ready to see that. I mean, Imran Khan, yes, but I think the army is a little more sensible in terms of keeping themselves together. I think if the army goes on a break or a holiday for a weekend, they won't find their country back again. So that's interesting. And of course, we've also learned why the US wants to keep this relationship alive, although reassess and do a whole lot with it and keep I think the carrot and stick is going to be the biggest thing, but the carrot size will kind of start shrinking from now on. Sir, thanks so much for this lovely chat on US-Pakistan relations. Of course, with this Afghanistan crisis, one thing is there that for people like me, there's a lot of material to make videos on. And of course, there's a lot to learn because it's brought open a whole Pandora's box of information that was ignored before. Thanks so much.
Yeah, with Pakistan, thanks a lot. With Pakistan, you keep learning.
Yes, sir.
It's never a dull day, right? Thanks, Adi. It was great discussing Pakistan once again with you. Good evening to you.
Thank you, sir, and Jai Hind.